be screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the first part of, What If Issei, Rias meet Goku and Dragon Ball's verse. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of EU sunt Dracul 1 on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. DBZ Universe. Goku, the last of the Saiyan race, was one of the friendliest and nicest person anyone had ever met. His personality greatly opposed to that of any other Saiyan. He was calm, attractive and pure of heart, traits collectively possessed by none other than the one and only son Goku. But right now, nothing could describe the difference from his usual self. The expression of pain, hate and regret can be easily seen on his face. Goku was watching the Namex see indifferently from above where he had just blasted the self-proclaimed emperor of the galaxy, the tyrant, Frieza. He had finally defeated that monster after becoming the legendary Super Saiyan. But at what cost? The life of his best friend, Krillin. Goku had lost more than one of his dear friends during his life, in pursuit of the Dragon Balls, to save the world and, as his Saiyan side persists, more power. And here he was, the strongest in the universe, and yet he felt nothing. What was there to feel? He had just lost his best friend. What was the use of power if you had no one to share it with? He was not like Frieza. Millions groveling at his feet brought him no more pleasure than having to bury his own prince. He was a protector. Not a destroyer. Krillin, I'm sorry you had to die. I promise I won't let any more innocents perish in front of me like that, mumbled Goku as tears flowed down his cheeks. Suddenly, a volcanic eruption burst from the dying Namek, roughly jolting the mourning Saiyan back to reality. DMN. Even though Frieza had been defeated, he had made sure to leave his mark, bringing an entire planet down with him. As if killing of all its inhabitants was not enough. He sped up as fast as he could, ignoring the burning pain of his muscles as he pushed beyond his limits, zipping through the lava geysers as they shot from the earth and the collapsing rock columns crushing everything beneath them. He winced as tears stung his eyes against the dust and wind, and continued to scan the surroundings for something, anything. He needed to leave. Goku had survived devastating planet-destroying attacks, blasts that could wipe out billions at a single count, but he couldn't survive in the vacuum of space. A few hundred meters below the surface, he saw a hope of light shine through. An escape pod. That must have been the one Vegeta used to arrive here. Goku thanked the fallen prince silently. He rushed over to the pod, without making any delay. He almost busted open the door, and when he managed to get it open, there was a button at the side. What greeted him was a large array of knobs, screens, and buttons scattered across the interior. Being basically illiterate, he didn't understand a thing. What should he press? What do they all do? Why hadn't he attended school with Gohan? Without time to spare, he strapped himself in and started pushing everything furiously. The pod's door closed and lurched violently. Goku had also managed to activate a map, some sort of cleansing gas to take baths with. There were no showers while speeding through space, after all, an oxygen mask, and finally he felt the pod lift. Goku gritted his teeth as his head banged against the top and shot upwards without warning. Soon the ship crossed Namek's atmosphere. And then it happened. The whole planet exploded, leaving nothing but space dust behind. The pod shook violently due to the shockwave, but there was not much damage. They were still traveling at a random course he set while button mashing. Or that's what he thought. The pod abruptly changed its course and he felt it spinning around frantically. He could see light zoom past them erratically from the small porthole in the pod. He felt his stomach lurch and Goku suppressed the urge to puke as he was thrown about in the small cramped area, hitting his head multiple times. He felt his vision blurring, his energy fading away, and the pain of his wounds acquired from the brutal battle taking over. Then all effort ceased. He relaxed. Even his legs felt limp and a blackness swept over his brain. It wiped out fear, it wiped out terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice, to go to sleep, no need to resist, too tired to resist, it's nice to be carried, to float in space, tender arms around him, tender arms like Gohan's, he must go to sleep. Am I going to die? The last thing he saw was the blurring of the space dust of Namek, before he slipped into blissful unconsciousness. DxD Universe. It was a peaceful night in human world. Rias Gremory, the president of a cult research club and secretly the heir of Gremory family, was on her way back to her club. Today was quite an overwhelming day. Firstly, she had found that the infamous pervert, Issei, possessed the scared gear. Secondly, she had found him dead in the park this evening. Thirdly, she had resurrected and healed him. She was still wondering why she did that, actually. And most importantly, she needed a bath. She gazed up at the dark sky and her eyes widened as she saw a shooting star zoom past. Silently she wished that she wasn't so busy and had more time to spare, but alas, being the heiress of the demon family, she had a huge burden on her shoulders and a packed schedule could not be avoided. Rias sighed. Suddenly, she sensed a huge power level. Is it some ultimate class devil who is coming to inquire about my progress in the human world? Is it the leader of fallen angels? Or perhaps one of the high-class angels? No, this was a different energy from that of devils, angels, or fallen angels. It was something else. She concentrated and located the source of the large power, and it was. Wait. Since when does shooting stars emanate power so similar to living things? And such huge power? Hold on. Is that thing going to land on my club? Wasting no time, Rias rushed towards her club, just in time to see the shooting star crash through the roof of a building close to her club, leaving a pile of smoking debris in its wake. Fortunately for her, the surrounding buildings were vacant and thus there was no commotion and no one hurt. Rias's eyes widened in surprise as she reached the crash site. A young man, seeming to be not much older than her, was laying unconscious among the rubble. He was still breathing, quite an amazing feat considering his injuries. There was dried blood surrounding the space pod, was it? It certainly wasn't a shooting star, now. What shocked her the most, though, was the level of energy radiating from the newcomer, despite his unconscious and wounded state. Rias hesitantly walked towards the stranger and, finding him out cold, picking him up and entering the club. DMN. This guy is heavy. Rias muttered as she threw him on the bed. Her eyes surveyed every inch of his body. A low whistle escaped her lips. Wow. Quite a muscle man, aren't you? Rias licked her lips as she smirked. Maybe. No. That wouldn't be right. Oh, for the love of. Her hands reached the buttons of her shirt as she started undoing them. She shrugged it off and it slid down her shoulders onto the floor. Next, she unstrapped her BR and threw it down, her body feeling a little hot and impatient. Slowly she slid off her panties seductively, winking at the man in the bed, her tongue running past her teeth. Rias ran her fingers through her hair, smiling seductively as she looked him over again, her eyes dancing over his shirtless form. Without wasting another second, she crawled under the covers and embraced Goku tightly, her fingers running over his tight muscles and abs, stopping at the belt at his pants, before going just a little, tiny bit lower. Her eyes widened and she gasped as her mouth formed an "oh." Hey! She was doing this to heal that guy. No SEC. Just embracing. She wasn't a pervert, okay, maybe a little in this case, or maybe a lot. Few hours later. It was morning. Sunlight streamed in through small window covered by a set of blinds. Goku groaned, discontented as his eyes flickered open very briefly, then shut as the light temporarily blinded him. And the sun. If only it had risen later, he still wanted to sleep just a little longer. Wait, what? Sunrise? Am I alive? But how? He thought. He was sure getting sucked into that space hole meant certain death for him. A small chuckle escaped his lips. He'd always been an awesome escape artist, as Chi-Chi put it, able to get out of the worst scrapes alive. Goku felt something warm and very soft on his back. His eyes widened in surprise as he saw a appealing redhead laying naked in the bed with him. A visible blush stained his cheeks as the girl hugged his back, probably still in sleep. A comfortable smile formed on her face as she rubbed her cheek against his skin and pushed herself closer to the Saiyan, her melon squeezing against Goku's arm. Goku got up silently, trying not to disturb the girl's sleep. Just as he stood up, his legs accidentally slipped on the BR lying on the floor, making him plop backwards onto the bed and right onto the sleeping beauty. He let out a small "eep" and turned around, coming face to face with her, their noses inches from touching. He flushed slightly when he realized his hand was on her BRST. The girl in her sleep. Goku watched in confusion when he heard her mmm. He saw a slow smile spread across her face. Bulma had told him that women melons are very sensitive, but he never thought that they could be so big. Big and soft and smooth. Like Bulma's, except hers were smaller. Goku started to press and squeeze her melons gently, curious. He couldn't understand why she was making such sounds, but she seemed to be enjoying it. With a childlike curious face, Goku decided to examine further. Squeeze, Press, ah. Squeeze, You are quite a perverted guy, aren't you? Wondered the girl with a smile as she slowly opened her eyes. Perverted? What does that mean? Goku blinked, confused. Wow. You don't know what that means. Rias cocked her head when she saw Goku shaking his head. Ah, that's so cute. You're such a naive person. It's really difficult to find someone as innocent as you. Rias mumbled, smirking as she started stroking Goku's cheek. Goku, being Goku, still didn't understand what's going on. Suddenly, the door of the room opened, revealing another appealing girl with very long black hair and violet eyes. Era, what's this? A new devil member. The girl appreciated the new man's bare chest. No, he isn't a devil. At least that's what I think. Rias muttered before getting out of bed, making sure to brush her naked body against Goku a few more times for extra measure and throwing on her crumpled uniform. Oh. So is he your new boyfriend, President? Teased Akino Himejima. What? No, stuttered Rias, turning crimson. Sorry for interrupting. But what's going on? Where am I? Goku wondered, confused. He had tried to sense the key of his friends and family, of course. Even he wasn't that clueless. But they were nowhere to be found. He had picked up some power levels, not entirely human, that were higher than normal and some even extraordinary ones. The two girls present in the room were also more powerful than the average human. You are on Earth, of course, replied Akino with her usual smile. No, that's not possible. This isn't the same Earth that I know. Goku's brows furrowed, in deep thought. Do you remember anything about last night? Asked Rias. Yeah, I remember I was in my ship. But then suddenly everything went blank. I was in space. Goku answered honestly. You almost crashed onto the clubhouse. I found you injured in the rubble with that spaceship thingy of yours. I decided to heal you, although, my method isn't exactly the most decent one, I must say. Hope you didn't mind. Rias winked, deliberately crossing her arms and displaying her cleavage. She had left the top few buttons undone, and had not put on her BR, for, certain reasons, of course. But you healed me so fast. Did you have senzu beans? How did you do that? That's easy. Because I'm a devil. In the underworld. The sudden appearance of the Saiyan was not unnoticed by high-class devils. Most of the clan leaders were quite worried about this newcomer. They called for a meeting, where the greatest devils and most terrifying demons gathered to discuss and clear their doubts or in some cases, deepen them. They suspected it was the work of fallen angels, though, had no evidence to back it up. What intel do we have about this newcomer? Asked the leader of 4 great Satans, Sirzechs Lucifer. Almost nothing, sadly, replied his father, Lord Gremory. He had appeared out of thin air, literally. There's no evidence of his prior existence, and such power is unheard of. He's strong enough to challenge and win against all of us. Do we really have to talk about this? Falbium Asmodeus muttered, bored. It would have been better if you'd taken your responsibility as Satan in charge of military affairs. Lord Phoenix narrowed his eyes. Where is that newcomer right now? Asked Lord Gremory. He is currently with your sister right now, Sirzechs-sama. If I may add, he doesn't seem to be an enemy as of now, informed Graphia. Silence filled the room as everyone absorbed this information. None of them had expected the new man to have targeted Lucifer's sister. So what should we do then? Falbium asked. We'll wait. If that guy dares to hurt a single strand of my sister's hair, then I'll personally deal with him. Sirzechs growled. DMN it. How could he? Why would he do it just because of such a small thing? Cursed Rias silently under her breath. A sigh escaped her lips. She didn't want to attend the class in such a bad mood. She wanted to let off her anger on someone or something. But what could she do in such a situation? How about using her magic to destroy the whole school? But then she'll have no choice but to return to her family. Not to mention thousands of innocent students will die. Rias slammed her head in her desk in frustration, startling everyone in the class. Everyone's sweat dropped at the unusual behavior of Rias. Why couldn't Goku join her school? She really wanted him to join her class. Even though it was yesterday when she found him, but she couldn't help but to develop liking for him. A few hours ago. Principal's office. So you are Son Goku, am I right? Asked the principal. Yup, that's me, replied Goku with a smile. Right now, Goku was standing alongside Rias. After a long 2-hour discussion in the morning, Goku came to know that Rias and Aquino are devils and the existence of angels and devils. Also, that currently he has no way to return his home. Well, at least that's how it seemed. When Rias asked for Goku's help and offered to join her, he didn't give it a second thought and agreed willingly, much to Rias's happiness. So why did you decide to join our school, Goku-san? Asked Principal. Actually, he used to live in Canada. But his parents died last week and he had no one but me, his beloved cousin, replied Rias on behalf of Goku. She'd always been a good liar and it was a perfect time to put her skills to test. Really? He is your brother? Asked Principal, raising his eyebrow in suspicion. Really? Asked Goku, confused. Rias hit Goku with an elbow in the gut as a signal for him not to speak when she is speaking. Fine then. I'll need his qualification certificates, told Principal, seemingly not very convinced thanks to Goku. Here, they are, said Rias as she handed the certificates to the Principal. Goku was confused watching the certificates. He never brought any when he arrived in this world. As a matter of fact, he never went to school in his whole life. But decided to remain silent as he didn't want to receive another elbow in the gut. Well, Goku-san, your qualifications are quite acceptable. Now you only need to fill the admission form and then you'll get the admission in this school, informed Principal as he handed the form to Goku. For Rias, getting those fake certificates was a piece of cake. Being the daughter of a well-known devil family has its own advantage. The only thing now required is for Goku to fill the admission form. What could possibly go wrong now? Is something wrong? Asked the principal. I don't know how to write. Hee, replied Goku with nervous smile while scratching the back of his head. Both Rias and Principal Sweat dropped hearing this. Rias, I would like to attend your class. And as for you, Mr. Goku, I'm sorry to say it but you're not eligible to join our school. Now it would be nice if you leave my office, said Principal in a calm tone, but it could be clearly seen that he was very angry. But dash. Out now, Miss RSS, before I decide to kick you out of the school too, yelled Principal, startling Goku and Rias. At present time. Rias was laying her head on the desk dazing off. She wasn't paying any attention what was going in the class. Her thoughts still on happened in the morning. What if Goku would have been able to join her school? She could have spent more time with him and came to know more about him. Next PRD is a physical education, right? Asked one of the girls in the class. Yeah. But we don't have any PE teacher in our school. The previous teacher got a better offer in another school so he left, replied another girl. I heard rumors that a new teacher has been recruited today. I think he'll teach us this PRD. I hope he is handsome. Me too. Rias overheard the conversation but didn't show any interest in it. She had many important matters to attend today. Firstly, she had to tell that pervert, Issei, about her existence and him being one of them now. Rias didn't realize when the teacher entered the class. The whole class was started gossiping when they saw their new teacher. The girls were very happy to see a young, handsome man, much to the boys' jealousy. Wow! Is he our new PE teacher? A girl whispered. He is so young and handsome, commented another girl. He may be handsome but Goku is more handsome and cuter than anyone, thought Rias, not even interested to take a glance at her new teacher. Goku. How cute and innocent. How she wish him to be a stuffed toy which she could hold forever. Hello everyone. I will be your PE teacher from now. Does she already like him so much that she is hearing his voice in PE teacher? How silly and stupid of her. My name is Son Goku. Nice to meet you all. Ah, so that's her new teacher's name. Wait, what? Rias immediately looked at her new teacher. Her eyes nearly popped out their sockets as she saw him. Goku. What you doing here? Shouted Rias as she subconsciously stood up. Oh, hey, Rias. Isn't it a surprise to be your school teacher? Smiled Goku, waving his hand casually. Rias ran from her seat before grabbing Goku's arm and dragging him along with her to the outside. When? How did you manage to get a job as a teacher here? Asked Rias, surprised. It was not as if she was angry about or something. In fact, she was quite happy to see him as her teacher. But how did he manage to do that? Oh, you see, it all happened after you left for class. Flashback. Out now, Miss RSS, before I decide to kick you out of the school too, yelled Principal, startling Goku and Rias. Without giving any other thought, Rias ran out of the office, leaving behind Goku and Principal. Knowing that he won't get admission in the school, Goku bowed down before walking outside. Wait, Goku-san, came Principal's voice as he stopped the Saiyan in the tracks. Huh? Goku turned his gaze towards the Principal in confusion. Though I can't accept you as a student here, but that doesn't mean I'm heartless, replied Principal in a serious tone. Tell me, Goku-san, do you know anything about physical fitness and sports? Because from looks of you, it seems you might be very experienced in this field. Yeah, I know almost every type of fighting styles and martial arts, replied Goku with a smile. Extraordinary. We were just looking for someone like you. Actually, our PE teacher left the school some time ago. Will you kindly accept our offer of you being the new teacher? Asked Principal humbly. That would be honor, replied Goku with a smile. That was quite easy than he imagined. But oh well, at least now he had a job to do. Rias would be extremely happy to hear that. End of flashback. So that's all happened, said Goku smiling while scratching the back of his head. Wow. That's great, said Rias as she pounced at Goku, getting him in a face/chest. I'm so happy that we are finally in the same school. She cradled his head to her melon, suffocating the poor Saiyan again. Rias. Need air. Goku gasped for air. To think melons can do such a thing, they can become a great weapons. Oh, sorry. I was quite happy and got carried away, giggled Rias. It's alright. Anyways, I gotta go to other classrooms to inform them to gather them in school ground. Tell this to your class too, okay? Asked Goku as he stood up, regaining his composure. I'll do that. Great. See you later, waved Goku as he ran to other classes. Rias happily walked to her classroom. Now that Goku got a job here, at least she won't have to worry about him. Not to forget, she can get extra marks from him whenever she wanted to. At school ground. A few minutes after informing all the students, Goku walked to the end of ground. He was standing in front of all the students. Much to his surprise, majority of the students were girls and barely not even 1/5 were boys. Well, that's what can expect from a girls' school which recently changed into a normal one. But oh well, he got to do his job anyways. Goku clapped his hands, making students to turn towards him. Hey there. As I've told you, I'm going to be your new PE teacher. So today I gathered you all for some exercises and a nice warm-up. So are you all ready? Asked Goku with a warm smile. Yes, sensei, replied all the girls enthusiastically, as they already started liking Goku, much to boys' jealousy, especially to a certain trio. Arg. I don't understand why such a nice-looking guy had. To our teacher, asked a brown-haired boy, Issei. As if Kiba wasn't enough, said Matsuda in rage. Why gods are so cruel to us, said Motohama in depression. The next moment all three of them started crying in anime style. But it only worsened the situation as the girls near them made more distance from them and started calling them creepy and perverts. So let's start with the running. Is 5 rounds of this whole town enough for you guys? Asked Goku. Though he felt the training was of too low level, but he didn't want to tire them up. They are humans after all, except for Akino and Rias, so they won't be able to handle his training. It will be perfect. We can even do 100 rounds if you want us to, Goku-sensei, said one of the girls as she got carried away. Really? You guys might be better than I thought. Fine then, 100 rounds for all of you, said Goku happily. Everyone's jaws nearly hit the ground as they heard that. They could do nothing but moron at the stupidity of one person. Rias couldn't help but chuckle a little at the situation. Talk about shooting oneself in the foot. But to see, shooting oneself as well as other in the feet, that's a unique view. At least she won't have to worry about the training. Her devil BLD would help her to pass through the training effortlessly. Rias-sama, came a voice. Rias turned her gaze towards the source of the voice. It was her queen, Akino. Goku-kun is quite energetic, isn't he? Remarked Akino with a smile. Well, isn't he always? Hee, smirked Rias. Oh, perfect timing. I was looking for both of you, said Goku as he appeared out of nowhere, startling Rias and Akino. What is it? Asked Rias, confused. Is there any devil besides you and Akino in this school? I've picked up several power levels higher than normal human in this school, said Goku. Yeah, there are 2 groups of devils here. But that's a story for another time. Meet me at the clubhouse. I'll introduce you to the other members of the club. And remember what you promised, okay? Asked Rias in a serious tone. Sure. I'll tell you everything about myself. You don't have to worry, nodded Goku with a serious expression on his face. An hour later. All the students finally finished their rounds. Everyone fell on the ground exhausted. At least they learned their lesson. Never to bite more than you can chew. Goku smiled as he saw them completing their training. They did better than he expected. Maybe he should increase the training, but it's almost the time for going to the clubhouse. Goku, sensei, came a feminine voice behind him. It belonged to a young, attractive woman with long black hair down to her hips and violet eyes. That girl. As she was there with him when I died, stuttered Issei as he saw the girl. Never in his wildest dream he imagined he would see her again. Rias's eyes widened in surprise. A fallen Ange was in her school, nonetheless the one who killed her new servant. But what is she doing here? Is she here to finish the unfinished job? No, she don't know about Issei being alive. But why is she here? Is that because of Goku? Yeah, that seemed the perfect case. Goku's power posse's a great threat to fallen angels. Maybe she is here to eliminate that threat. Well, she is quite brave to step into enemies' lines, isn't she? Hey. Do I know? Asked Goku curiously. I'm Rhaenyra. I'm a second year here. Goku-sensei, will you please go out with me? Asked the girl timidly. I'm really sorry. But he is with us, came the familiar voice of Rias. The look on her face was scary enough to startle both Goku and Rhaenyra. Why you? Before Rhaenyra could do anything, Rias grabbed her collar, pulling the fallen angel to herself. Listen, you fallen bee. The only reason I'm not erasing you out of existence is that we're standing in front of all students. But if I saw you near my servants or Goku again, I will not hesitate to put you out of your miserable life. Understand? Asked Rias in a dark tone, making Rhaenyra sweat in fear. Rhaenyra barely nodded before Rias threw her away. You'll dearly pay for that, threatened Rhaenyra as she ran away from the school. Weren't you too rude to her? I didn't sense any evil in her, asked Goku nervously. Goku, she is an enemy. She'll do whatever to achieve her goals. That includes killing innocent people. Anyways, we're heading to clubhouse. Don't be late, told Rias as she walked away from him. Goku dismissed all the students as the time was already up. Not to forget, he hadn't showered since he came to this world and he desperately need one right now. Without giving it another thought, Goku headed towards school's shower. At a cult research club. As the shower was finished, Goku reached outside the club before entering in. As he entered the house, Goku saw a petite girl with white hair and hazel eyes sitting on a sofa left to him. Goku smiled and waved towards the girl, much to girl's shyness as she blushed a little before nervously nodding. Ahaha, this is the first time I saw Kanoko like this. You might even become her friend faster than me, said a young handsome boy with short blonde hair. I'm Kiba. Nice to meet you, Goku-sensei, as he bowed down in gratitude. You, screamed Issei. It was his first day at a cult club. He thought he was the luckiest man in the world when he found that he was summoned by Rias, but, why? Why this new good-looking have to become the stone in his way? Oh, he started hating him already. First, Kiba, and now you. Why can't I be only good-looking guy here? Goku, it's good to see you are not late. Said Akino with a smile. I'm here too, shouted Issei, trying to get their attention. Rias-sama was waiting for you. You haven't properly, have you? Asked Akino, ignoring the pervert. What? No attention. Issei turned his face to Goku. Yeah, I haven't. Where is she? Asked Goku again, ignoring Issei. I just want to die, said Issei in a comically depressed state. I'm here, said Rias as she walked out of her bathroom. As expected, Issei's full concentration were on Rias's bub. So Goku, since we have told who we are. Now it's your turn, said Rias seriously. Well, it stared with. It took about half an hour for Goku to tell his whole life story. Everyone listened to it very curiously. It was as if they are hearing some kind of science fiction manga. Issei was most curious and suspicious of all. He seemed to remember this kind of story but couldn't remember where. So you're saying that you're an alien, right? Asked Rias, receiving a nod from Saiyan. It sounds like a self-made story, but we have no alternate but to believe it. Anyways, I have already explained you who we are, said Rias as wings appeared out of her back. Kanoko, Kiba and Akino had the same change. Whoa, but Issei was surprised when seeing those wings. Proper introduction are in order. My name is Rias Gremory of the Gremory clan and every member of this club are my servants, said Rias in a proudful manner. Himejima Akino, Yudo Kiba and Tuju Kaneko. The reason on why I brought you here is to discuss about what happened yesterday. You remember Issei, how you died? You mean Yuma-chan, but everyone's doesn't remember her at all, said Issei confused. That's because she's a fallen angel and her task was to lure you out and killed you. They have the ability to erase memories. To kill me, but why? I didn't done anything wrong to any fallen angels, asked Issei scared. Was it because he was a total pervert? No, Motohama and Matsuda are perverts too. Then why only him? It's because you are a human possessing a sacred gear, and they consider such humans as a threat. Fallen angels normally kill the user or steal their relic, which also causes the user to die. You can think as they taking your life force away, informed Akino. What is a sacred gear anyway? Asked Goku confused. Sacred gears are an irregular power that resides inside human beings. These powers normally only affects the human world, and their users usually end up being an important figure, playing an important role worldwide. But, sometimes, there are exceptional sacred gears that can also pose as a threat to devils and fallen angels alike. That fallen angel Amano Yuma, or her real name is Rainier, must have seen something dangerous in you. Issei is one of the reason. Please, raise your hand, requested Rias. Why? We want to see your gear. Try to imagine the strongest thing you can think of. Son Goku from Dragon Ball Z. Said Issei. What? Me? Asked Goku confused. Not you, you dumbass. Just because you had the same name, doesn't mean you are him. You're nowhere like him, said Issei in irritation. How dare this new sensei compare himself with his favorite character? Good, now imagine that person in his strongest pose. Now, get up and imitate that pose. You have to imagine it strongly, don't hold back. The boy stood up, lowered both his hands at waist height, and placed them in the right side of his body, making a small ball format where his hands intertwined. Kamehameha, as Issei's left arm started to materialize. Goku's eyes widened in surprise. Hey! That's his move. What the hell is the eyes? Shouted Issei in surprise. There was a red gauntlet with a big green gem covering his left arm. That is a sacred gear, and it belongs to you. Once released, you can use it anytime you want. The fallen angel saw that as a threat and therefore need to neutralize you, told Rias. But, if she already killed me, how I am still alive? He wondered. You called me when you were on the verge of death. I was summoned through this paper. She showed him a leaflet exactly like the one he grabbed from the weird girl. This is one of the leaflets we give out. This magic circle is used to summon us devils. These days there aren't many people who would draw this circle to summon us. So we give these leaflets to people who look like they would summon devils. The club president continued. When I was summoned, you were in the brink of death, Issei. So I had to save your life by turning you into a devil using this evil pieces. You were reborn as a devil, Issei. Congratulations, my servant devil. Then she clicked her fingers. The same wing sprouted from Issei's back, and he let out a girly shrill. Let's get along from now on, Issei. Rias smiled childish. But what is the purpose of the contract? Goku asked after staying quiet during her explanation. When humans sign a contract with a devil and once the devil's end of the bargain has been fulfilled, the humans are required to pay a price for our service. The price varies with the wish that we are summoned to grant. It can be from small trinkets to the lives of the contractor. There are ranks among devils, it's something called peerage. Rias sat on top of a large desk on the corner of the room. Behind it was located the club president's chair. Your place of BRTH and family heritage plays a big role in it. You can even become popular with girls when you rise your devil class, added Rias. Wait. What? How? Issei's eyes started to sparkle hearing that particular word. You see, the number of pure-blooded devils are very thin these days, so we encourage low-classes devils to rise to high class and form their own peerage. In other words, Rias, the better job you do the higher chances becoming a pure-blood devil, asked Goku, trying to get the whole situation. That's right. You mean I can have my own servants? Asked Issei, getting more curious. Yes, but that will take a lot of hard work you need to do. Can they all be women? Will I be able to form my own HRM? Yes. Can I do anything I want with them? Even SEC? Pervert. Was Kaniko's reply. They will be you servants. I don't see why not. If you told them to wear bloomers. Now, get to work, you have to deliver all those leaflets to the addresses below, tonight. Yes, Bucho. Issei got up, got his backpack and was about to run out of the room but stopped in his tracks. But what about Goku? Is he one of us? Are you Goku? Asked Rias as everyone turned their gaze towards him. Yeah. I don't see why not. You guys are not bad at all, replied Goku with his famous sun grin. So, well, can you tell what class devil I currently am? Asked Issei. You are currently at the low-class devil. So are Kanoko and Kiba, replied Rias, accidentally crushing all the hopes of Issei. You and Akino-senpai? We are mid-class devil. And that dumb guy? Asked Issei, bored, pointing at Goku. Looking at him, Issei could tell he at his best might be a low class too. I'm not sure about him, replied Rias honestly. What? Even Kiba got interested. When I first saw him, he was heavily injured. But when at that state, his power was enough to match to that of an ultimate class devil, told Rias. Everyone in the room gasped in shock as they hear that. Even Kanoko couldn't keep her calm composure anymore. How strong he is at full power. No one but he himself knows. Wow. Such power, wondered Kiba. Okay, but why I've to do all the work and he didn't, complained Issei. Akino approached Goku, putting her index fingers on his chest before turning her gaze towards Issei and especially Rias. Sorry, but he is going out for dinner with me, that's why. Really? Asked Goku, happily hearing his favorite word, dinner. Yes. It'll be my treat. What? Issei was so shocked that he froze in his placa like a statue. DMN. Just because he is going with you, don't you dare think he is all yours, smiled Rias in threatening manner. Era. That is to be seen, replied Akino as they started exchanging daggers towards each other. No way. It's his first day at school and he already got affection. Two most appealing girls, Issei said. Comical tears running down his cheeks. Just you wait, Goku-sensei. I'll be better than you. Then I'll be the center of attraction, not you, committed Issei silently. Morning. The time all living creatures wake from their slumbers to begin a new day. And the way a normal person would begin theirs, was to trudge out of bed and head to the kitchen, preparing a cup or two of coffee or tea or whatever it is that would keep him awake, and if he is feeling up to it he would attempt to prepare a light snack. Emphasis on the word normal. Goku was, on one hand, the most earthling of the Saiyans, and yet on another hand, not very earthling at all. After devouring all contents of Rias's fridge he had found himself a nice, secluded training spot and had begun a light, or rather, in his standards, training routine, after, of course, hunting down a more suitable larger-sized breakfast. His hostess had been informed the night prior. Goku recalled the ear-piercing screeches and heated screams from Chi-Chi when he failed to tell her about his early morning escapades. Right now, he was in a clearing at the heart of a little forest which lay far from civilization, tucked away between the high mountains. Best for training, far enough to get rid of distractions and avoid hurting innocents. Best of all, it reminded him of home. The little house in the pockets of the fields and mountains of one of the most calm places of Earth, his Earth, and being around nature gave him a comfortable sense of familiarity that he relaxed in. He hoped to see his Earth, and more importantly, his family and friends, again. But enough sightseeing. More training. Goku concentrated his ki and levitated in midair. He started to visualize a virtual battle, King Piccolo, Jinyu, Frieza. He started to attack the air at blinding speeds, punching and kicking at an incredible rate and power that would make even the lightning bolts pale in comparison. Replaying virtual battles, fighting invisible enemies, for half an hour. Goku panted as he ceased his movements, his muscles aching, and he slowly descended. The Saiyan closed his eyes and took a deep breath, before summoning his ki from his core. Ha! He screamed as his ki ripped out dangerously from his body, his aura blared a furious red, intensifying, everything in the range of 50 meters were blown back by the sheer force of his power. The world shook. Every living being felt as the ground started to tremble beneath them, earthquake. They shouted, diving for cover, radios blared our warning alerts, but it was of too little force to be considered a threat yet, unexplainable or no. Not a threat for humans, but it couldn't be said the same way for the beings of the otherworld. The devils, angels, fallen angels, shock. Yes, maybe even terror. To be able to feel such power radiating from Earth, a massive force just so close to exploding. It was worrying enough for them to send someone to check in the situation. After all, you can never be too sure. The aura around Goku faded. He fell to his knees, panting and sweating. His power had risen dramatically, but not enough. No good. Goku breathed heavily, he wiped sweat from his forehead and leaned back, gazing into the sky. I need to feel that rage I did at Namek. I need to turn Super Saiyan, maybe next time. He wasn't giving up. Nope. Goku stood up on trembling legs and blasted off. Yes, he wanted to continue to train. But what was this about a school? He didn't know, but Rias seemed to make quite a bit of fuss about it last night, and he didn't want to anger her. Besides, he needed to see Rias. Occult Research Club. Rias turned over, sleeping soundly. The peace was unbroken for a few moments, before a door flew open. Rias awoke at the sound. I'm back. She heard Goku's voice, then his smiling face greeted her as he entered. You're back early. Rias smiled. Goku sat on the bed next to her. I thought you were going to train longer. Goku bit his lip. I couldn't. Why? Rias' eyes widened, worried. Because I missed you. His voice was a husky whisper, and before she could reply she found herself pressed against the wall, smoldering lips pressed against her own. I love you, he confessed, lust burning in his eyes. Sincerity in his voice. I love you. Rias panted. She arched her back as Goku captured her lips, again, in a smoking hot kiss. He pushed himself against her thighs, forcing them apart, and Rias felt his arousal pressing against her own. She would be lying if she said his length hadn't aroused her the moment her fingers wrapped around his large. Her red hair splashed against the wall and she her mouth opened slightly to an oh, and he took the opportunity to slit his tongue into his mouth, as well as his hands down her curvy hips and to her skirt. Rias arched her back as Goku captured her lips again in a hot smoking kiss. He pushed her against his hands, he could feel his arousal and she anticipated it. She felt his large warm hands cup her peach before hooking onto the waistband of her skirt, and tug it lower, lower, so slowly he slid her skirt off her long legs and threw them onto the floor. Rias wrapped her arms around Goku's neck and their tongues battled. Goku explored Rias' mouth and grinned against her lips as he left her long slender fingers drag tantalizingly across his hard-on, snagging his sash and pulled. Oh God! Oh Goku, Rias lewdly. Rias' eyes widened. One of his large hands cupped her groin. She felt herself getting warmer and wetter as his fingers brushed teasingly against the fabric of her lace panties before removing it, just sweeping his fingers slowly across her PP. She let out a strangled cry, muffled by his hot lips. As one of his fingers entered, she arched her back further and pressed her melons against his bare chest. Goku took the invitation and ripped off her shirt. Rias was too occupied at the moment to care about the abuse of her clothes, and slid one warm hand under her lacy black BR, clasping her BRST. His fingers kneaded her NPL and made her whine in arousal. Goku. Please, I need you. Please. Rias pleaded, panting. What? I didn't hear you, the Saiyan teased. Please, I need you inside me. I need your pages. Rias begged. She pressed herself closer to him. He smirked and pressed his Erkn against her naked thighs, and the redhead in pain, a SNSL pain, that she didn't know existed, as he entered her. Goku was big. Bigger than she anticipated. Goku. More. Faster, demanded Rias. She closed her eyes as she drowned in the sensation of pain mixing into pleasure. Rias, gasped Goku, feeling the tightness of Rias. 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 Rias-sama. Wake up. Rias woke up in bed, panting. Sweat running down her whole body. She looked around. That was a dream. Disappointed. You were quite loudly. It seems you were having an extremely pleasurable dream. A teasing voice by her ear. Rias turned to her right only to find Aquino sitting next to her. You were screaming Goku's name. Dreaming about my Goku, huh? Aquino grinned mischievously. And no way. Rias's face turned bright red in embarrassment as she realized that her queen found about her dream. And what do you mean by my Goku? Era, wasn't that clear that he loves me when he went with me for dinner last night? Aquino flipped her hair and batted her eyelashes, a triumphant smile on her face. Well, I'm sorry to burst your dream bubble, but even friends and colleagues go on dinner. Rias pouted childishly. Before Aquino could reply, the door of the room opened as Goku waltzed in, grinning. I'm back. Goku announced his arrival. Aquino smirked as she found her perfect opportunity. Welcome back, Goku. I wanted to ask you something. Aquino gave Rias a sideways glance. Yeah. Sure, he blinked. Did you like the time you spent with me last time at dinner? Aquino smiled seductively. Being oblivious to what Aquino really meant, Goku replied without giving it any thought. Yeah, I loved it. I would like to go with you again. The food was amazing. Goku gushed, his mind swimming with thoughts of last night's meal. The girls caught his dreamy look and Aquino smirked, while Rias fumed in jealously. Son Goku. Rias yelled. The Saiyan jumped back in shock. She's just scary as Chi-Chi, thought Goku. Weren't you training? Weren't you going to take more time? Rias frowned, angry. She took a step forward threateningly. I couldn't. Goku grabbed her shoulders and gazed deep into her eyes. Flashbacks of her dream entered her mind and Rias turned 50 shades of red. Why? Stuttered Rias, blushing heavily. Her mind went blank. Aquino's presence had never been more inconvenient. Because someone doesn't belong here. Goku's eyes narrowed and he let out a soft, protective growl, pushing Rias behind him. I know you are outside. Show yourself. Wow, I thought we had hidden our energy quite well. But you found us the moment you entered. Outstanding, a voice echoed. A red circle materialized on the floor and started to glow. The light diminished to reveal a young man and woman, both smirking. The man looked like he was in his early 20s, with shoulder-length crimson hair and striking blue-green eyes that reminded Goku of Rias's. Come to think of it, this man bore a very uncanny resemblance to her, almost like the male version of Rias. The woman looked to be the same age as the man, silver hair that was flowed gracefully over her back with 2 braids at the sides knotted up with small blue bows. Her eyes were the same mesmerizing color as her hair. Oni-chan. Rias acknowledged, surprised by her brother's sudden appearance. What? He is your brother? Goku scratched the back of his neck, confused. It lasted not long, however, the resemblance was quite obvious. He noted that Aquino bowed down to him. Hey, why are you bowing to him, Aquino? Goku tried to whisper but his voice resonated around the dead silent room. The Saiyan smiled nervously and everyone's gazes snapped towards him. Goku, this is my elder brother, Sirzechs Lucifer. Along with him is our most trusted maid, Grafia. As for your question. My brother is currently one of the 4 Satans of Hell. It is the highest rank in entire Hell. So it's not an unusual thing for lower devils to bow down to him. Even high-rank devils bow down to him, explained Rias. Really? Wow, you look strong. Can we spar? Goku grinned excitedly. Are you out of your mind? Rias's eyes bugged out. She slapped the Saiyan at the back of his head. I apologize, but Grafia and I are just here to check out the situation. Maybe we could spar at a later date. Sirzechs replied, smiling politely. Oh, Goku frowned dejectedly, then perked up, turning towards the silver-haired woman, how about you? Will you spar with me? Didn't you hear what he just said? Aquino pinched Goku's cheek and dragged him away, giving Grafia a sheepish smile. He was cute, sure, but Aquino swore Goku sometimes had a rock for a brain. I don't believe you are here just to check up on me. What else is there? You won't just leave behind your bust schedule just for something as minor as this. Rias crossed her arms. Come on Rias, don't be so rude to your big brother, Sirzechs replied, his smile not very reassuring. I came all this way just to meet you. Before anyone could say anything further, Grafia stepped forward, her usual serious expression hanging on her face. We have came because there is a disturbance in the forces between Hell and Earth, caused by him. She pointed towards the oblivious Goku. Huh? What, me? Goku scratched his head quizzically. We have been keeping an eye on you from the day one. And dash. But before Grafia could complete, Sirzechs stopped here. That's enough. We don't want my sister's newest club member to think we are stalking him, do we? Sirzechs said gently, Goku, was it? Can I have a word with you in private? Goku nodded. The duo left the club, leaving the tension in the air. Rias narrowed her eyes in suspicion. Though she did trust her brother more than anyone, but the fact that Devil Council had been spying on Goku was making her uncomfortable. But there was nothing she could do about it. After a few minutes, Goku and Sirzechs returned. But much to Rias's disappointment, neither of them had their usual carefree looks on their face. So. Rias bit out hesitantly. She wasn't sure she was ready to hear about what brought them down. Don't worry, Rias, it seems Goku is quite trustworthy. I'll tell everyone that he is neither a villain nor a threat. Sirzechs' smile returned to his face. Rias and Aquino let out similar sighs of relief. Anyways, we have to get going. Father and others might be getting impatient by now. Sirzechs grinned, as he and Grafia stepped back on the red circle. It lit up again. Oh, and one important thing Goku, the main reason I'm trusting in you is because Rias completely trusts you. You better not break her trust or you'll dearly regret it. Sirzechs warned, his eyes flashing with the promise of pain should his words be ignored. Goku nodded sincerely. Well, that went better than we thought, Aquino shrugged. What did he tell outside the club? Rias prodded her friend for more information. Well, nothing much. He told me that I don't look like a bad guy. Oh, and he also told me some childhood incidents of yours. Goku grinned mischievously at the last part. Rias turned red in anger and embarrassment as she realized that her brother had told her crush something far more personal than the mission. Oh, really? Can you tell me too? Aquino, now very interested, bounded over with an evil smirk. When Rias was 7, she dash. There nothing about it. We'll be late for school if we waste time in silly things, interrupted Rias, as she punched Goku hard in the stomach, making him gasp for air. Anyways, I need you all of you to meet me at night near the easternmost part of this town. Rias informed, especially you and Issei, Goku. Why? We'll show the fighting system of devils to the newbies, which are you and Issei. Rias answered. Really? That's amazing. Goku's face lit up, like he had just gotten the best Christmas present ever. If you were right and he has power equal to an ultimate devil, do you think the hunt will be of any challenge to him? Whispered Aquino. You are right. I didn't think about that. Rias' sweat dropped, seeing Goku all pumped up. Rias. His words could be heard clearly in the whole room. Yet, the only reply he got was silence. Silence, even though the person he called was still in the room. Rias, called the Saiyan, trying to get her attention. Sure, silence was something that quite accompanied him most of his life while living in mountains, but this was different. He knew that she was mad about something. There she was, standing in front of the window, looking outside as the last rays of sun fell majestically on her appealing hair. He would be lying to himself if he said that he didn't find her attractive at all. But, such concerns could be addressed another time perhaps. The Saiyan turned his head towards the other person in the room, Issei. As he made eye contact with Goku, the only reply he gave was a shrug of shoulders, clearly understanding what he was asking for. He couldn't dare to mutter anything in Saiyan's defense even if he wanted to, especially not when Rias was this mad. Issei, tell Goku that I have no longing of talking to him, said Rias, interrupting the Saiyan. But Did you even listen to what I just said? Shouted Rias in anger, surprising Goku. Is that so? You should have told me that before, I was getting hungry anyway, chuckled Goku sadly as he walked out of the room. Don't you think that was too harsh? Asked Issei. Sure, he didn't like Goku much, but even he couldn't deny that he preferred his childish and goofy personality. I know, but he has to learn, replied Rias. She knew that what she did was wrong and even rude. But it was necessary for Goku to understand. To understand, devils rule in this new world. Her eyes softened a little. Perhaps she was a bit too rude. The previous day. Rias, senpai, I'm, back, said an exhausted Issei who just came back from finishing his task. So-called tasks, which included DLVRY and fulfilling humans' stupid desires, were not exactly what he thought about when the word devil's task came to his mind. Maybe that was something he had to go through first, being on a low devil level. But no matter what, he would surpass Goku. It was funny that this idiot had the same name as his favorite hero, and won Rias' heart. Oh good, you made it back just in time, said Rias, acknowledging his presence. I was just talking with Goku about your new task. Yo! Goku waved with famous sun grin on his face. New DLVRY tasks, guessed Issei lazily as he laid on the floor. These tasks were really hard, especially when he was too weak to fly or even use a teleportation circle. And something was even weird in finding human contractors. No. This time I just want you to spend some friendly time with Goku. You are both new here and you rarely speak to him, told Rias. Is this really necessary? I don't want to be stuck with this idiot, whined Issei, clearly not wanting to spend any time with the Saiyan. Hey, that wasn't very nice, pouted Goku. Now, Issei, being on a mutual understanding with her teammates is important for a devil. Especially during raiding games, informed Rias and continued future before either of the boys could raise their hand. Raiding games are popular, friendly battles, among the devil groups in order to raise their rank and fame. That's all you need to know for now. Somewhere in town. So Goku, tell me, what do you like to do during your free time? Asked Issei sitting on a bench alongside Goku. Fighting and eating, replied Goku with a smile. Okawae, anything else? Fighting strong opponents, replied Goku happily. Alright, between us men, what kind of girl would you prefer to F if given the chance? Said Issei, hoping to get a different answer from Goku. What do you mean by that? Asked Goku innocently. I mean what kind you would like to bang? Asked Issei again only to get a confused look from Goku. Seriously, he couldn't understand what girls found attractive about this knucklehead, especially Ria senpai and Akino senpai. I mean with big BRST or small? Big peach or small? Asked Issei making lewd faces and gestures which Goku only compared to Mstr Rashi. I don't know. The biggest BRST I have touched so far are Rias, replied Goku honestly. What? Shouted Issei in utter shock as if struck by lightning. This couldn't be real. They were really big and soft. I don't know how she is able to fight with them, wondered Goku, but sweat dropped as he saw Issei. I hate you, said Issei, depressed as he started sulking on the ground. It was as if all the colors from his life were drained out. Those bub were his dreams. That guy touched them before him. His whole life was meaningless now. Hoya you. Both boys heard a sudden voice behind them. There was also the sound of something dropping on the ground. When Issei turned around, there was a sister on the floor. She spreaded her arms wide open and had her face on the ground. That certainly was a clumsy way of falling down. Even dumber than Goku. Are you okay? Issei approached the sister and gave her his hand so she could stand up. Ayuyu. Why do I keep on tripping over? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Judging by her voice, she was young. She seemed to be the same age as Issei. Issei took her hand to lift her up. With a strong breeze, the sister's veil flew away. Her blonde hair, which had been hidden underneath, fell down onto her shoulders. Her straight blonde hair was sparkling with the sunshine's light. Issei's eyes moved towards her face. His heart skipped a beat. A blonde-hair beauty was standing in front of him. Her green eyes looked so appealing that it felt like he would be sucked into it. For a while, he was staring at her. Is something wrong? Asked the sister looking directly into his eyes with a worried expression. Sorry. Issei couldn't speak clearly. There was no way that he could tell her how fascinated he was about her. Rather, he thought that this girl might be it. Yeah, he was thinking about that. Yes, that. She looks exactly like his ideal girl. Of course he had only one girlfriend in his entire life, only to be killed by her, so of course Issei was attracted to her. It felt like he needed to continue talking to her. The traveling bag she was carrying on her shoulder now came up to his eyes. Now that he thought about it, it was a rare occasion to see a nun in town. It was actually his first time seeing one. Goku titled his head in confusion. He couldn't understand why Issei stared at the girl for so long. Looking at her on the floor, he saw her veil and picked it up before handing it to her. Oh, thank you so much, sir, said the sister as Goku smiled in return. Traveling? Asked Issei with a little blush on his face. No, that's not it. I was appointed to the church in this must be a local. It's a pleasure to meet you, she said, bowing her head. Being sent to the church of this town. Staff reassignment. Looks like the church was also having a tough time. I have been in trouble since I got here. I can't speak Japanese that well, I was lost and other people couldn't understand what I was saying. She held her hand together in front of her chest and looked really sad. Due to his new devil BLD, Issei was able to understand several languages including English. As for Goku, surprisingly enough, he could understand it too. Thanks to his childhood training with Mstr Rashi, he was indeed able to understand English too. A/N, can you guys guess the chapter? I think I might know where the church is, said Issei. Why you do? Thank you. This is all thanks to God, she smiled at him with tears falling from her eyes. Issei couldn't help but admire her beauty. But when he looked at the rosario, glowing on her chest, it gave him an extremely bad feeling. Well, of course it had to, since he was a devil. She was the type of human that he shouldn't talk to or get involved with. But he couldn't leave a girl in alone and in trouble. That is how Issei took this sister to the church with Goku following behind, as he was not familiar to the town either. On their way to the church, they went past a park. Yuaya. What they heard was the cry of a young boy. Are you alright, Yosh-kun? The boy was with his mum. It was nothing serious, the boy seemed to have just tripped over. But suddenly, the sister who was walking behind them a minute ago, was walking towards the park. Hey! The sister went inside the park and towards the boy who was sitting down, crying. Confused, both Issei and Goku followed the sister. Are you okay? Boys with a minor injury like this shouldn't cry, smiled the sister as she pat the boy's head gently. The boy probably didn't understand what she was saying. But the sister had a very kind expression. The sister put her palm where the boy had injured himself. The next moment, a green lighted orb appeared from the sister's palm and was flashing onto the boy's knee. What was that? Demonic powers? Rias asked, as it could only be used by devils and someone related to devils. This couldn't be. When Issei looked carefully, the boy's injury started to disappear. Something appeared in his mind. Probably a scared gear. When he looked again, the boy's injury was gone without even a mark left. That was amazing. Goku was also impressed by her ability, even though they had senzu beans in his world, but healing wounds with energy was something quite different. This might also be the power of a sacred gear, it must be many different type. The boy's mother was also in shock. Here, your wounds are healed. The pain should be gone now. The sister pat the boy's head. And looked at Goku and Issei. I'm sorry. But I had to. She laughed while sticking her tongue out. The boy's mother, who was shocked before, shook her head and then grabbed her son's hand so they could leave quickly. Thank you, Wani-chan, said boy looking at her. He said, thank you Wani-chan, she smiled happily after Issei translated for her. That power. Yes, it's the power to heal. It's a wonderful power that God gave me, she said looking a bit sad, even though she was smiling. To Goku, it seemed like she had some dark past or something. He could sense it but decided not to get too involved into it considering the situation. Issei wanted to tell her about his gear too but decided to keep it a secret as it might have made the situation worse, especially when he had to pose for Kamehameha to activate it. The conversation ended there, and the group continued walking towards the church. They reached an old church after walking for a few minutes. Chills. Issei had chills, and sweats were coming out of his body. It had been like this before. But Goku seemed fine since he was not one of them. He knew it. He was a devil, so the church, which belongs to God and the angels, would be enemy's territory for him. Even Rias had said that he should never get too close from a church or a shrine. Yes, this is the place. I'm so glad. The sister had a sigh of relief after confirming their location with the help of the map she had. It was a waste to say goodbye to a beauty like her, but Issei knew that it wouldn't work. He was a devil and she was a nun after all. Love between people from different camps may sound romantic, but this would be a different. It would be because he was getting really scared of the church. His whole body wouldn't stop shaking. Signs of fear must be a special trait to the devils. It felt like he was a frog being watched by a snake. No, he couldn't stay here, he was almost in enemy's territory. One more step and he would be in great danger. Then I'll be on my way. Issei bid his farewell and tried to leave, but the sister's words stopped him. Please, wait. I would like to make you some tea to express my gratitude since you brought me here. Oh, I'm in a rush so I have to get going, said Issei, trying his best to stay away from the crutch. But that's... The girl looked troubled. She probably wanted to make them some tea to thank them, but drinking tea there would be dangerous. It was a shame, but he had to refuse. Even Goku understood that. My name is Issei. Everyone around me calls me Issei. So you can call me Issei as well, said Issei smiling. I'm Son Goku. You can call me Goku. When they gave her their name, the girl responded with a smile. My name is Asia Argento. Please call me Asia. Then, Sister Asia, let's meet again sometime, said Issei as he began to leave. Yes. Issei-san, I will definitely come and see you, said Asia bowing her head down. Issei left the place after waving a hand towards her. He understood that she was a good girl and that this meeting might be their fateful destiny. It was almost like a hero leaving his girl for the sake of her safety. It was the best for the both of them. Bye, Issei. See you later, waved Goku. Bye, Goku, replied Issei happily as he continued to walk away. Asia going to church with Goku, huh? Such a nice thing. With Goku? Goku, crutch. Wait a second. Stop there, you idiot. Where are you going? Shouted Issei while running back to Goku to grab his arm. I'm going to the crutch, replied Goku. You can't go there. But Asia promised me some food, protested Goku. No, you can't, shouted Issei as he tried to pull Goku away but was repelled because of the church's proximity. I'll meet you at the club later. Smiled Goku as he entered the church alongside Asia. Stop. That was my moment. Why do you always get my girls, said Issei as comical tears rolled down his eyes. You are a monster. A few hours later. Don't ever get close to the church again. Both Issei and Goku were being scolded by Rias in the club's room. Her expression looked more serious than usual. To us devils, the church is enemy's territory. Just stepping into it can cause a rift between the devils and God. Since it was an act of kindness by taking the nun to the church, they didn't harm you, but the angels are always on the lookout. You were in a situation where it wouldn't be strange for them to hit you with a spear of light, explained Rias while looking at Issei. Now that Issei thought about it, the chills he felt before weren't normal. He only felt fear at that time. It might be his way of detecting danger and his instinct as a devil telling him that he was in a dangerous situation. Don't get involved with people from the church. Especially not the exorcists who are our biggest enemy. They could easily eliminate us since their powers are born by the prayers made to God. Even less if it is an exorcist with a sacred gear. That would be the same as standing on the edge of death, Issei, continued Rias looking at him directly with her blue eyes while pushing away her crimson hair. Her eyes were serious, so Goku knew she wasn't joking. It was the first time he saw her like that. Why yes, replied Issei. You could avoid death as a human by being resurrected as a devil. But devils who are exorcised are completely exterminated. They return to being nothing. Nothing. There is nothing left and you feel nothing. Do you know how serious that is? Ria shook her head after seeing Goku and Issei's confused faces. I'm sorry. I got too heated. Anyway, be careful from now on. Yes, replied Issei bowing down his head. That goes for you too, Goku, said Rias. Okay, but it was a really appealing crutch inside. They gave me food and snacks. And there is even hot water tubs there, explained Goku as he started to drool, thinking about food again. Wait. What? You went inside the church, shouted Rias, causing Goku to flinch. Goku gulped in fear as Rias seemed even more furious than before. Hell, even Chi-Chi wasn't as scary as she was. "Do you have any idea what you did?" demanded Rias as she slammed her fists on the desk. "Your actions could have caused chaos in this town." But Rias dash. "Don't you, but me," said Rias in anger. "I don't think I will be able to put with up you if you start doing such stupid stunts. I don't want to act on your own unless you completely understand about Devil's rules. This is your first and last warning. Do you understand that?" In response, Saiyan only nodded as he didn't want to make her more mad. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but it's almost the time," said Akino as she entered in the room. "Time for what?" asked Issei. "For hunt." So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 2. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author sunt Dracul 1 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.